Good day, everybody, and welcome to episode 67 of my YouTube video series. And today we're going to do a technical video, which is a video that probably only interests people who like to look at maps. Okay, if you have problem with maps, then this video is not for you. And we're going to do a Johor Bahru city center analysis of land and projects. You know, what kind of transactions for land happened recently? What are the new projects coming up? What are the projects under construction right now? What are the interesting things to pay attention to? Right? And what we feel is matters of interest if you are into this sort of thing, right? And this video will be as of August 2025, right? And we'll do a thorough look at this, okay? Using Google Earth, okay? So before we start this video, let's start with an introduction on myself.
Director of Outbound Marketing at
Ryan. Speak in Malaysian. So my name is Ryan. Namaste, Ryan.
6,000 incoming supply in Johor. This is
Thank you. I am writing. Thank you for attending today's presentation on Iskandar, Malaysia.
So my name is Ryan Khoo. I'm a Malaysian. I'm a Singapore PR. I've been in Singapore since 2009. I'm a property investor first. I buy, sell a lot of real estate in Singapore as well as Malaysia. Recently, a lot of Malaysia, of course, because Singapore is difficult. And I'm also a property agent. I buy, sell property in Johor, Singapore as well. Again, most of my time recently has been spent in JB. I've been on stage with most property luminaries in Singapore and Malaysia. I've spoken at events by Property Guru, by iProperty, by ST Property, by HProp. I used to write articles for HProp as well. I'm most well known as a property investor, and I do run a property investment club in Singapore where we focus on JB property. I'm also this YouTube channel that you're watching this video. If you're first time here, this YouTube channel is about property investment in Johor Bahru as well as retirement in Johor Bahru / Malaysia, right? And the whole idea is to create more cooperation between Johor and Singapore. I think this is my life belief that JB and Singapore should cooperate more together for win-win situations, okay? And in today's video, we're going to talk about land and projects, right, in Johor, what has been happening recently. So if I look at land, right, typically I gather or I define the lands in Johor in 4 categories. So the best category, the most prime, is what I call the S tier or the super tier. Generally, any location that is walking distance to the RTS or CIQ, and a reasonable walking distance, because walking distance can be controlled, right? Not only by the distance itself, but can also be by factors whether it's walkable or not, right? Like for example, if it's a short distance, then maybe it's okay. But if it's sheltered, or you have going through a more comfortable environment, you can probably walk a little bit longer. So it's not necessarily defined by distance, although we probably say in Singapore 500 meters to 1 km is still walkable, right? But again, like I said, there could be natural barriers that prevent you from walking. So the next category is the A tier. A tier means short drive, and when I say short drive, I'm talking about 10-15 minutes by car, right? Not by bus or by car, yeah? Again, to the RTS or CIQ. And as you can see, the B tier and C tier, we get further and further away. Okay, so today we're just going to focus on S tier and A tier, right? These are the 2 main categories that I think is of interest, and we'll cover that in today's video, okay? So this next slide you see here is basically a Google Earth extract, right? And over here, I have put some information on the landmarks. So the main landmarks that you will see, right, is of course the RTS itself. This is the triangular shaped piece of land where the RTS is currently being built, and this is the current customs and immigration building today. Okay, so opposite, of course, this is JB Central and City Square and Komta. I think these are 2 landmarks that most of you probably know in JB. When you cross into JB by bus, right, you probably enter into City Square and Komta first. So this one I think everybody knows. Okay, so the first cluster of projects that we normally see in this area in the S tier location are normally to the south, right? So if you look at the south, right here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects under construction right now. So I've named them all over here. I've actually done videos on Causeway Square. I've done videos of R&F Phase 3. If you guys want to watch more detail, you can check on my YouTube channel, the more detailed project reviews here. I won't cover them in too detail. So the reason why most of these projects in the south tend to be marketed because, generally speaking, there's a bridge here right now. Later I'll show you the bridge where it allows most of these areas to walk up to the CIQ and RTS, right? So down here is the causeway, right? So there's this walking bridge actually allows most of these projects to be easily accessible, and today many tenants who live here or people who live here are generally Singapore retirees or Malaysians who work in Singapore, right? So you can see the bigger ones, of course, R&F Phase 3 and Causeway Square. This one all are mixed development with more downstairs. And you see Summer Suites, Gen Rise, Gen Sphere, these are all smaller sites, right? Just normally just pure residential with a minimal or zero retail. So if you look at the background of the land over here, R&F, this land was bought ages ago, yeah, more than 10 years ago. I think they paid roughly 900 plus per square foot. Causeway Square bought by Exim. Exim is still a private company, actually the developer, so we don't know the exact price they bought, but we understand it to be about 1,000, right? If you look at Summer Suites, this land also bought by the local developer Connoisseur many ages ago. We don't know what's the transaction price. Gen Rise, Gen Sphere also bought by Majestic Gen. We don't know their land price because the developer's a private company, so we don't have exact details on this. But roughly this area now you can see, based on the previous transaction by R&F and Exim, we're talking about 900, 1,000 PSF land price alone, this area, okay? The next batch of properties you probably see on the other side of City Square. That means nearer to Jalan Tan Hiok Ni, this touristy area, right? You have Quayside JBCC. Quayside JBCC is by a KL developer. Again, they're a private company, so we don't know exactly the land price they paid. This project so far construction has been slow. They're still at the basement, ground floor. Probably not easy to build at this site, right? And the other one is Coronation Residences, built by Coronation Properties and Johor Land. So this one also construction has been slow, but actually finally they have actually achieved at the superstructure level, maybe level 4 and above, right? Over here, Coronation Residences also, they have a plan to have a bridge right to the RTS. The bridge has been announced, but again, construction on the bridge is very minimal. We don't really see much about the bridge right now, but I think that's important, right, for Coronation Residences to be a true real walking distance to RTS. But again, this distance today, there's no real bridge. You also walk in the sun, right, to get from Coronation Residences to RTS, okay? So other projects that you will see in this area are, of course, to the north, you have Arden by Astaka Badu. And these are all technically not S tier already, right? In my definition, these are not S tier because Arden Residences, MBW City here has actually 3 phases. I think it's trellis, veranda, I can't remember the other one. All here. This by MB World, and you have Sunway Majestic. Actually, this area might not be accurate, might be a little bit up, right? Just recently launched this project over here in along Jalan Yaya Awal direction. So the reason why we say this is not city fringe, right? Because I'll talk about that later, right? So if you see about recent land transactions, we had 2 land transactions recently. So number one is by CTC. CTC is actually a Singapore company. They just bought this plot of land. For those of you who drive, which is just right next to Sheraton Hotel, and it's just just next to the petrol stations. That means you see a Petronas and a Shell petrol station on your left when you drive out, right? So just behind it is the CTC plot of land. They paid 1050 PSF. So this is another proof that we have hit 1000 PSF for land prices in JB. So this one is a longish plot of land, and their selling point is they are roughly 300 meters to the RTS by this road through Kim Teng Park lah. But Kim Teng Park, this road is not sheltered, right? So they are actually walking through the open sun. You're exposed to the rain and the weather and probably traffic, right? But this plot of land actually quite prime in that sense. It's quite near, right? Similar to how SKS Pavilion and Twin Tower, Tri Tower are in terms of distance to RTS, right? You can walk and it's not far. So we are going to wait for CTC launching their project soon, maybe by year end on this project, right? The other transaction is actually by UOA. UOA is a developer from KL. This is their first project in JB, we understand. They took one plot of land here near the water treatment plant, also actually not very far from RTS, right? But the problem with these sites, right, is that and one of UA's plus point is that there's actually going to be an ART station over here. We have it on quite strong information that there will be at least one ART station over here. I find the ART station here location very weird though. It's just outside RTS, right? I don't know why it's like barely come out of CIQ. Hardly 200 meters, there's one ART station already. Okay, but apparently it's to cover this area of people who cannot walk so far from City Square, right? So they did one ART station just to cover this area around Doubletree Hilton, this section, right? And we understand actually there'll be another ART station somewhere here. Based on the name of the ART stations, Saujana, there should be one more ART station somewhere here, maybe along Yaya Awal or maybe nearer to MBW City, in front of Danga City Mall. We don't know, right? Somewhere this section should have one more. Okay, but UA's plus point is that it's sort of walking distance to RTS. We understand that UA also want to build a overhead bridge so they can get to the RTS. And they are next to this ART station, which maybe means you might just say ART station. I don't know. But UA bought the land over here. We understand that the land value also is roughly around 1,000 per square foot for this plot that they bought. So these are the two upcoming projects, right? Both are small sites, but we're going to look at about probably 1,000 units each for these two projects here. And they won't be cheap because of the land price they paid at around 1,000, right? Probably these projects will sell at 1,003 PSF or higher. Okay, so this is a super zone. S tier. Now, other things to take note, right? Yeah, maybe I should have animated this earlier. This orange color one is the link bridge, right? So the link bridge today forms from CIQ all the way to R&F, right? So R&F is over here, right? R&F Mall and R&F Phase 1, Phase 2. So Causeway Square by Exim will have their own link bridge connecting to this main one. Gensphere also wants to have their own bridge connecting to this. So you can see that, like I said, today most of the action is concentrated in this south here because of the link bridge allows the accessibility. So even some of these projects, even if they're a little bit further from the RTS, right, like you see R&F Phase 3, common complaint is that it's a bit far, right, or all these projects, so some people say may be a bit far, but because of the link bridge, right, it allows the walk to be comfortable, right, and accessible to immigration and of course subsequently RTS. So this is important, right, and some projects like why I say Arden, right, Arden although it's here, Arden is technically to me difficult to walk to RTS because of a natural geographic phenomenon, which is the highway, right? This highway. If you see this highway, right? The one I've done in the blue dotted line over here, this is the Tebrau Highway, right? And this is the main road all the way down. So it's sort of, you see this highway, right? I've been there and you probably cannot walk it or difficult to walk, right? Like this road also, right? From here to here, I don't think there's any natural pedestrian walkway. So you will also not walk from here to here because it's very difficult to walk. You have to probably walk through Kim Teng Park, this direction, right? That's also assuming you're on the correct side of the border, like CTC, right? Like Arden, right? You're on the other side of the highway, then I think it's a lot more difficult to walk, right? This natural border is also the reason why some projects like Paragon Suites here, right? Even though they are near CIQ, their tenant all cannot walk to RTS because of this natural highway blocking the walking distance, right? Which I think is important. So end up like today, you see south, right, can walk because south don't have this problem, right? North cannot walk down because of this problem, right? And west, right? So you have now you have the situation projects like UOA, right? They can probably come in Coronation. They're also trying to build their own bridge to get across to RTS. Okay, so if you talk about points of note, right, I think you will probably ask me, hey, Kim Teng Park, all this is what? This is landed. Okay, so Kim Teng Park is an interesting story for those of you who don't know. Actually, the Johor government tried to compulsory buy back this land many, many years ago, actually pre-COVID, right? The Johor government made an offer for the land, and then the landowners fight back, they don't want, so they couldn't agree on a price, and eventually it was cancelled, right? So this land acquisition did not happen. But of course, if you see Kim Teng Park here, all these landed here are very old. Some of these landed are like 40, 50 years old. Some of the houses are not habitable. Also, if you ask me, the houses there are already all run down. Nobody's business, like nobody's business. So the owners here are trying to hold out, either for government to buy them or for some property developer to buy them. I'm not sure what will happen. I think it's a bit of a complicated story lah. But of course, Kim Teng Park here is a very prime plot of land, right? We'll have to see what happens in the future to Kim Teng Park, right? If anything, if Kim Teng Park one day gets acquired by the government or acquired by some major property developer, of course, this will be super, super prime land and it will not come cheap. I understand the owners are also looking at 1,000 PSF for the land if they want to sell. And you can also notice, right, that actually if you look at S tier, right, there's really not much land left, right? Right, like all these, there are some small pockets here and there. I don't know whether you can build because access road may be difficult, right? A lot of these things in JB now probably have to become rejuvenation. People have to buy back old building and rebuild. That's also not easy because Malaysia en bloc law is not out yet. Malaysia doesn't have en bloc law today. So if you notice, there's not a lot of land over here. Like this reserve, right, is controlled by Johor Land, I believe. This is the Eco-Botanical Gardens controlled by the Johor Royalty. This will be open to public soon, but this will not be developed, right? So if you see real S tier, of course, south is Singapore, you cannot go down here. So if you see real S tier, can walk to RTS, you have very limited choices left, right? Short of Kim Teng Park getting acquired, right? Or some small pockets of land being bought and cobbled together. Even if they get bought, also the land sizes are very small. You're probably looking at 1-2 acres sizes in general, right? If you want to be a developer, buy land here and build. So it's very difficult to get land here, and land here is not cheap. Okay, the next section we're going to talk about basically A tier. We go up north, right? So A tier is where you can drive maybe 10-15 minutes to the RTS, right? I don't like to say 5 minutes because some people say 5 minutes. I don't think 5 minutes. You got traffic lah. There's traffic lights. There's traffic today. You minimum like I drive today, right? If I drive minimum from KSL back to R&F, right, it's a minimum 15-minute drive because there's traffic. There's traffic lights, right? It's never a smooth road down here, lah, right? So if you look at just to give you some orientation where this purple one is KSL Mall. So I'm sure here everybody knows KSL Mall. This is Jalan Tebrau, where I think everybody or most people have gone or used this road before. This is the main very heavy artery traffic, right? Heading actually to the east, right? So KSL Mall is here. Next to KSL Mall, there's a condo called Space Residency that we just completed, just TOP, and where my company is moving in to operate as well. So if you look here also, actually, this whole Tebrau area is also quite heavily urbanized, if you notice. But a lot of this is actually landed property, right? And very old landed, again, maybe 30, 40, 50 years old landed property. Some of them are run down, some of them are better condition, right? But they're all individual titles. So again, very difficult to rebuild, right, some of these spaces. And you can see there are some green pockets of land here and there. Let us go through one by one how many of these green pockets of land have turned into projects. Right? So again, to set some reference, right, just now Arden was at the top. So now Arden's at the bottom, based on this new map. We've gone up a little bit. So Arden is here. The first two guys that you'll probably notice is on this side, just behind Sky 88 and Twin Galaxy. This direction, there is two condos under construction, Oasis as well as Senyum Residences. One is by Crescendo, one is also by CTC, the same Singapore company earlier. So these two are building projects right now. They are both maybe still early stages of construction at the superstructure, but level 5, level 6 is around this range, right? Personally, I don't like these two projects very much, plus Sky all that, because you can't really walk to RTS and you have to turn a little bit. Is like MBW Bay and something Majestic, right? Not here, not there, right? In terms of distance, you're near RTS, but you're not that near. You can walk. So generally speaking, tier A project, I don't really like in the fullest sense, right? Even though you pay a bit more for S tier, I still feel today it's worth to pay more for S tier, right? Because A tier is like those not here, not there. But I understand some people who got budget constraint, right? And maybe you don't need RTS to be that near, right? You will buy this area because this area is fairly happening, a lot of entertainment, food, here. So Senyum Residences and Oasis, these two are here right now. Oasis is fully sold. Senyum Residences, I'm not sure. Probably still have some unsold based on what I see, because they launched later. Okay, so the other guys that are battling it out today are these three. Right, there are three major guys fighting it out right now. The first one is the Address by Maxim. So Address, one thing, it has a very prime location in terms of facing, right, along Jalan Tebrau, right, when you pass by Pelangi Plaza, after a little bit, you'll see that a big empty plot of land where you turn to Jalan Serampang. Jalan Serampang is where we have all those wedding boutiques, right, you see here, very famous for that. And there's a lot of F&B and banks where you turn into Taman Pelangi, right? So most people also have used this road before. So in that sense, the Address has a quite prime location, or quite visible, I won't say prime, visible location from the main road, right? And again, from Address, you want to go to KSL, it's also not very far, though I'm not sure how they will do it. They have to cross the road and cut through the shop house. I don't know if you can cut through them, because I think this shop house cannot cut through one, unless you walk. And again, it's not very pedestrian friendly. Okay, so this is a competitor number one. Maxim is a Malaysian developer. They are listed, right, and started property development maybe got about 8 to 10 years ago. So they are not that new, but okay lah. Fairly decent developer here. The other one is Marsing. Also, Marsing have this project called Grand Minori, launched recently. So same time, Address and Grand Minori are now fighting head to head. Together one Sentosa. So Grand Minori is by Marsing. Marsing is a very big name, a top 10 developer. They bought this land from SP Setia, I think last year, right? This is opposite the Hong Leong Bank, Taman Pelangi area. There's a Pasar Malam here. I think if you buy here, you can be quite near Pasar Malam on every Monday, if I'm not wrong. So this project by Marsing, they're launching here, probably again targeting those people who don't want to buy S tier, right? So along this, so Grand Minori, Not as visible as the address, but some people may prefer a bit quieter location inside, where here also quite a lot of entertainment and food options around, right? So this is one of the small plots of land left, right? You notice that all this one slowly disappearing in all this green plot of land. Okay. The third one is One Sentosa. Now, One Sentosa is developed by TS Law. TS Law is an old name in KL. They have some listed companies, I think, but the property don't know listed now. But they apparently took over Plaza Sentosa. Plaza Sentosa is also a popular night spot. A lot of food nearby, entertainment nearby. So this has become a project called One Sentosa. They have recently started selling as well. So now we have these three big boys here fighting it out. So in the S tier, there's a couple of competition going on between R&F, Causeway Square, and Gensphere. Whereas here you have another set of competition going on between the Address, Grand Minori, and One Sentosa lah. So if you are going to buy this area, these are probably the three main projects to consider now. Selling price maybe about 800 plus per square foot. These three projects, right, in on average, right. Who is the best? I don't know. I mean, to me right now, I don't really see a standout difference between the three lah. They are all pretty similar, and all three of them I don't really like again because they are not S tier, right? To me, if I want to buy JB, I want to buy as prime location as possible, as near RTS as possible. Same logic as in Singapore, right? You want to buy as good a location as possible. Why you go to JB and you want to buy lousier location when you can buy better location, right? That's my point, right? From an investment perspective. Okay, so you see, Ryan, is there any more plot of land to buy this area? Would there anything else to happen? You see, this area is all controlled by the royal family. This one is Istana Pasir Pelangi. This is the Sultan's palace as well. He usually sleeps over here. Like all this is school. This one also school. Here also school. This one also school. So unless the government get rid of the schools, right, I don't think there's a lot of green land left, lah, right? Unless again you buy up old buildings like Plaza Pelangi. I heard a rumor about it, but I'm not sure whether I can say. And there's some pockets of land here and there, but a lot of these are landed houses, so it's very hard to buy landed houses one by one and build condo, lah, right? It's difficult, right? So unless the schools disappear, the other option, of course, is here. There's a giant over here. This giant also maybe will disappear. I don't know. Over here we have the Astras. Astras is actually by Exim as well. So it's in the Lakin Kebonte area, and this area is all leasehold land. So they launched this project also about 800 plus per square foot. Yeah, not cheap, yeah, but leasehold some more, right? So probably foreign buyers will not really buy here, but they had pretty strong sales by local buyers. So Astras is here. Some points of note actually is in terms of other transactions. So we know that Exim also bought another plot of land somewhere behind Skydate. We have this for some rough idea. Don't know how much it paid, but we know this is the plot of land over here. We also know that TS Law, the same developer as One to Sentosa, also controls Leisure Mall now. So Leisure Mall is somewhat opposite KSL, right? So it's also a famous mall for those of you who lived in JB for many, many years. One of those old malls that, like dying, not dying, that one. So, so Leisure Mall also we heard maybe redeveloped. Probably they will see sales at One Sentosa first. If One Sentosa does well, then they may proceed to do the same thing for Leisure Mall. But these are recent transactions in the area. Another one that you want to take notes, of course, where are the ART stations? So ART stations, right? Okay, so talking about ART stations, based on what we look at the ART map, there is one ART station called Depot Police. Now, Depot Police is here. This is actually a very large police station. It's the HQ, police HQ, also police quarters, right? So this is a big plot of land. So again, can this land be developed? I mean, unlikely at this stage. Unless federal government kick out all the police, then I don't think they'll do that lah. I mean, not in the short term. So this is a police area, police station just next to Arden, right? So here there's one ART station based on the name, right? We probably guess it's here. This police depot is only here, right? And there's probably one more ART station somewhere around here. My guess is here, right? At the intersection between KSL and Taman Sri Tebrau, right? Because there's some empty plot of land there. I think it's easy for government to put one station here. And it makes a lot of sense because from here, if you alight, you can probably walk a little bit to KSL. You walk across a little bit, you reach into Taman Sri Tebrau. So I think this is a good location or likely choice for an ART station. There's also one more ART station towards the north nearer to Columbia Asia. I think that's also another location for ART station. But this is all coming down from the south. So if you look at it, it's probably 2 or 3 ART stops to the RTS lah, right? And you see the ART station location, right? The way I look at it, one Sentosa not near enough, the address also not near enough, or near. Is it near? Can lah. I guess it's near. You can walk. You're walking the entire length of the shop house, but it's no. You're walking in the shop house also. I guess it's not so bad lah. I don't know whether you think it's walkable or not walkable. Right. I guess people will still walk lah because you got no choice, right? It may not be super pedestrian friendly, but I guess it's better than nothing, right? If you consider where the ART stations are. So this is the A tier zone. Okay. So thank you very much. So that's my review, right? I think many of you will probably pause that video, take screenshots, right, and think about your planning if you're a property investor. If you guys are a property developer or want to buy land in JB, you can also contact me. I'm a property agent. This is my Singapore number. You can contact me on WhatsApp. 81261626 or my Malaysian number there, 0122591876. If you look at projects, look at the land buildings there, I'm more than happy to show you in detail. This video is just to show high level roughly where everything is, right, and what's ongoing, right. Of course, there's a lot more details to it. I spend half a day doing those two slides because I'm interested by all these things. I like to see where all the things are on the map. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that this video also too. If you like our content, do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, right? We definitely appreciate all the likes and comments below, right? If you have any comments or questions, right? And subscribe to my YouTube channel, it helps a lot. And like I said, if you guys want to buy property in JB, do contact me at my numbers there. Thank you very much and bye-bye.